Hello again, friends. Coming to you today from the laboratory here in the fish room, and by that I mean the floor of my living room. Want to talk about what's going on in this 16-gallon bow front tank, as well as the little 5-gallon bow front that I got next to it. Got a lot of plants here, so I kind of want to explain what the plant is, where the plants came from, and that kind of thing. So if you're new, why don't you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and help me grow my channel, because I'm new too, right? So anyway, getting started here. Let's start with the Java Fern right in the middle there. This Java Fern is actually part of a mother pot that I got from Boost Plants. Same thing with the sad looking Anubias there. Looks like I need to cut that leaf off. If you could see it through the algae. So the algae, that happened right after I added some extra of the Easy Green from the Aquarium Co-op. Really got the plants going a lot, and also started that algae bloom, which is nice. Great. Perfect. Use as directed, kids, right? So anyway, so the Anubias and the Java Fern, they were both mother pots from Boost Plant. So all of the Java Fern and the Anubias that you see in the 75-gallon tank that I'm going to show you here in a minute, all of that came from these two pots. The other mother pot that I got was from them was the red Reuben sword. I'll show that to you as well. I actually got 3 plants in one, and they called them a mother pot, but it was a bit more developed and a bit bigger, so than what I would anticipate from just a single pot. Anyway, moving on. So the next thing that you might notice right in the front here are these neat little springy looking things. That's Mayaca fluviatus. I got that from the Aquarium Co-op. You'll see sort of I made an unboxing video with all the plants that I got from the Co-op. In front of that is some S. repens. I did not get that from the Co-op. I got that from someone else, and when it came, there weren't any roots on the portions, and so when I put them in the quarantine tank that didn't have the Fluval stratum substrate, they just died right back to just, and I ended up with these little stalks. I stuck them in some soil. I got 15 of them, I think. And so I stuck them all in the 75-gallon tank. They are starting to come back. Some of them might come back, and then I had a crash, and I'll explain it to you here in a minute. But moving on with the plants that we got in this tank, you'll see on the left some really nice, big, tall, healthy water sprite there that I also got from the Co-op. That was one pot from them, and ended up getting 4 bunches from that, and it looks like each of those bunches is ready to be spread out, and that's exactly what this farm tank is for, is to start farming some fast-growing plants like those water sprites. Then we got some Scarlet Temple. That's the red stuff. You know, you can see some roots coming off sort of halfway up. I might take that off just above the next growth node down, and then replant it so that roots will be sort of the first node. I do see some roots on that a little bit lower down. I'll have to investigate, see exactly, because there are a couple of stalks there. And so I want to see just exactly where the roots are coming off on which growth node before I start trimming it up. But the idea is to also spread that out and start farming that too. So back in behind there, you'll see some Brazilian Pennywort. That's more of the round stuff. What I like about that Pennywort is that if you let it grow, and you let it get up to the top of the tank, it will also float, which is kind of cool. So, you know, I got some floating plants in here. So in addition to the Pennywort, I got some water lettuce, those little rosettes, and then the smaller stuff here, that's some Salvinia nantes. Now it gets brown like that if you let it sit and get hammered around by your filter, like that. So I do need to put something in front of the filter just to keep it from, you know, getting pummeled with water all day. So anyway, I like those plants. They're pretty quick growing. So I think that covers it for the plants in this 16-gallon tank. Moving on to this little 5-gallon tank here. So you'll see I do got some Java moss down in there. The other stuff I got is this pink stuff called Kabomba fricata, and then the little other green sprig is what's called an
Anubias Cinerium.
That Cinerium, it's gonna kind of be what I think of as like a centerpiece plant. It's gonna be right down in front in the 75. I'll show you where it's gonna go here in a minute, but it gets these long, neat little spikes with little balls on the end, little tiny, neat. I think it looks kind of cool, so we'll see. But yeah, so the plan is that the Kabomba and the Java moss and the Java fern and probably that Anubias. I got like 3 chunks of rhizome down there. So the plan is for all of that to go into the 75-gallon tank. The rest is going to be spread out in this 16-gallon bow front, just to kind of get farmed for future projects. So speaking of a future project, I'll give I did a little sneak peek in a short little while ago, so I thought I would do a little longer of a sneak peek at the end of this video, so stick around for that. If you like what you've seen so far, do smash that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. So now we're gonna talk about the 75. So here's the 75-gallon tank. You can see the obvious gap right in the middle, in the back by the filter. That's where the Kabomba is gonna go. And then the Java moss, I'm going to start at the top corners of the tank, where on the top part of the hardscape there. I just kind of work my way down, see how far down that wood I get to go. Eventually, I do want to stop somewhere around these couple of little branches right in here. You know, so kind of below those holes, you can kind of see that the hole there, you might see some water movement coming from that, and that's because I hid a water pump back up in that log there, just to kind of keep the water moving. It kind of comes out the holes, kind of comes out the top, but a lot of it flows down past the heater, just to kind of help things be a little bit more efficient there. And you might just see those swimming around, my little Bosamani rainbow fry. So this is gonna end up probably being a Bosamani rainbow species tank, if that's what those fry are. That's what I believe they are. I kind of did a story about this in another video. But basically, I got some Bosamani rainbow in here. I had 3 of them, 2 females, 1 male. Had them for about a week. Got some other fish. The other fish brought ick. Killed everything. So I drained the tank and flushed it a couple of times. And when I filled it back up, the next morning, I had these fry swimming around. So that's kind of cool. Like I said, I believe they're a Bosamani rainbow. I really don't know what else they could be other than that. So it's not the greatest. Are really hard to see because they are just so tiny. They're just so little. But anyway, as far as changing up the scape here on the 75, what I'm gonna do is just kind of tidy things up. You know, you can see there is still a lot of open space. A lot of the plants are pretty small. You know, you can see down in the front here, I got some of the cryptocrene. I think it's a Wendetti green. I got that from the co-op. All of that, I got 5 plants for them, but you know, you can see I spread it way out. So all the pieces are real small. Same thing with the Anubias. They're all, 1 or 2 leaves on each one, but see that one in the back has that little like flower thing. I don't know. It's kind of cool looking. Looks like a little ear of corn. In the front on the left there, that's the red Reuben that I was talking about that I also got in mother pots. I got 3 of those. So there's the other one, and the third one is over on this corner. Which brings me to another little tweak I need to make, is that Java Fern right there in the front. I do believe I'm going to move that to the back side of that stone just so you can see the wavy rock a little bit better. You see that like Bacopa Carolina. I don't know if you can see it on that one, but there's some other ones like these back here. Again, like the Scarlet Temple, where you can see roots halfway up. So I'm gonna go clip right the node underneath that and then plant those roots. So they're gonna get shorter, but it's gonna be a lot denser planting. I didn't get a lot of individual stems of the Bacopa, so by doing this, it'll thicken in. And I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna fix little things like this Bacopa and Java Fern situation here, where they're like one is immediately behind the other. I need to just move that Bacopa off that line a little bit. Over on the right, I don't know if you can see back in underneath there, but there is a crypt and it's behind that piece of Bacopa, so I need to bring that out to the front. I am using Fluval Stratum, and I did try to get it to go up behind this hardscape here, so that I can plant that Combolba all the way up and hide the heater. It did spill out. I put some, polyfill foam in some cracks where it was spilling out to kind of help keep it back there. But then when I put the pump in and just from moving things around, and it's just all kind of spilled down. So I do have some that I can put back in there, but I need to like contain it. Put some stones at the bottom so that it doesn't all just spill down into the background there. And that's sort of what's happened. So I do have some S repens in on the ground here, if you can see. I do have some more of the clover leaf kicking around. So I'm going to use the rest of that, fill that in. I did try to transplant some of the dwarf hairgrass. It didn't really work, but I'm hoping with a little blade here, a little blade there, I'll get little tufts here and there, and it'll be good enough. I kind of have that feeling of like the wabi-sabi. I don't know if you're familiar with that from, the sort of Japanese aesthetics idea, but that sort of natural, imperfect beauty. We're not striving for, you know, the perfect straight lines and that kind of thing. You know, a little dirty is beautiful. You know, a little messy is great. Anyway, part of what I'm thinking about doing right down here in this sort of rock garden section is, you know, I'm going to put that piece of arrow right down at the arrow kerosene, whatever it is, you know, the one I'm talking about. It's going to go right down here, sort of in front of what I like to call dragon claw rock, right? That nice, it does. It looks like a dragon claw. It's like 3-4 lines of quartz. They go all the way around that rock. You know, seeing it on video doesn't really do it justice because it's just there. Got to turn the brightness down a little bit. You can actually see the rest of the rock. Kind of has some neat texture there. So anyway, that plant is going to go right in front there. You can see there's some cool reds, and that rock is actually blue, and it has some browns going across it. Now that I turned down the brightness, you can kind of see some of the colors of the rock a little better. Yeah, the rocks do go all the way up back behind the stump, not all the way to the top. They stop right about where that one on the right is. I filled the back with gravel, and there is some, there is a lot of fluval stratum in this tank. The back, it does slope up quite a bit. You can see, you know, I got the Penguin Emperor Pro 450, and I actually could not use any of the downspout extensions without pushing the intake down into my substrate. So I had to take all that off. I did some modifications to that filter. Like I said, there's another video, go check it out. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make all these changes, do all these you know, little tweaks and clean it up and that kind of thing. I'm not gonna show the whole process of how I do it, but you know, for you, in about 10 seconds, you'll see this tank look pretty different. So everything's been planted. The only thing I didn't move over into this big tank was the Anubias. I left that where it was. But you can see the kabomba there in the back. Got a nice, I got quite a lot of it. So I was able to fill in that gap there, fill in some of the spots over here, just put in some to give a little texture variety just across the rest of the tank, put some over there as well. I did put the rest of the Java Fern in here, but I didn't glue it to actually any of the existing hardscape. What I did was I had some of these little tiles, these little hexagonal tiles here, and I just glued them to that, and I just dropped them right in the tank. So I can pull them back out without disturbing the soil and stuff. See, there's another one. Very easily. But like that one only has one leaf and a bit of rhizome. So it'll just sit there for a while until it gets nice and bigger and healthier. And like this one, this Java Fern here, I don't know. There we go, on that leaf right there. You see those little like look like little warts coming down? Those are the spores, and those will be new little Java Ferns. So it's kind of cool seeing them on this leaf, because, you know, to me, if they're reproducing, it means it's a happy, healthy plant, which is a nice contrast to, you know, these black leaves over here, which are not a happy, healthy plant. So working on it. It's a work in progress, you know. So if you do want to follow the progress of this tank, make sure you hit subscribe. If you've made it this far into the video, might as well hit that like button, push the algorithm a little farther. Hopefully some other people who like the same sort of stuff will stumble upon this and Yeah, I didn't put the Java moss in early either because I would need to drain the tank a bit to do that, and I just don't want to drain the tank today. So I didn't want to have to do a big 50% water change, and I'm trying to avoid that just to you know, try and make life a little easier on these little fry guys here. So here they are swimming around. I haven't counted. It's kind of cool though. So I did earlier promise to give you a more in-depth sneak peek at my next aquascape project. So here we are. So these columns are some of the first pieces of decoration that I ever got when I got into the hobby. I thought they were pretty cool looking. I liked the statue in the middle, and so I got them for my 10-gallon tank. They fit real nice in there, but when I upgraded, you know, I got away from the ceramic. These are ceramic. They're not plastic. Just to give you a idea of how big. So I you know, I was out front. I found some hardscape in front of my house in a garden bed. It looks like this, right? This is some really cool, neat looking rock, I think. The problem is to clean it, if you scrub it, it'll just break apart, right? And so I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna use hydrogen peroxide to scrub this and get just the years of dirt off this. But I thought that was some really neat looking rock. I got a lot of it, and it's a couple of really nice big pieces. So that got me just the whiteness and the lines. Got me thinking about this old set of columns and the statue that I had. And then I had, this is a 2 by 1 foot tile, and I actually got this for free. I got all this tile for free. See this little tile? I got, I don't know, maybe 60 pieces of this as samples for free. And so what I did was I siliconed some tiles to the bottom of all of these. I got to clean them up. So they're hollow, but they're heavy enough. They're sealed, so they're not going to fill up with water and create dead spots where, you know, there's no water flow going on. I also got a bunch of these little hexagonal ones for free. You know, these are just like exactly like the ones that I just glued the Java ferns to. And you can see around the base of the statue, I put some of those hexagonal guys too. So really part of the reason I put the tiles under there also was to kind of add a little bit of height to give myself a little bit more room for the substrate. The tile is not going to go in the tank. It just gives me the perfect size for a 20-gallon tank because it's the same exact size, and that's what it's going to go in, is this 20-gallon tank right behind it. So the idea for this scape is kind of going to be like a kelp forest, and this sort of ancient ruins underneath the bottom of the ocean, and these kelp, you know, like a kelp forest. So it's going to be a lot of like curly val, some cryptocrine, what's it, spiralis, maybe some twisty mini sword. See what other kind of you know, crinkly, twisty, leafy, long, leafy stuff that I can find. And then I'm also thinking about doing some like really dark Busa philandra down at the bottom, And then actually up on the sides, so this will be kind of down in the valley, and I'm gonna get the hardscape to kind of come up a bit on each side. And then I was thinking on the top of that to actually use some hair grass, because once you're up that high, you know, the hair grass would then be able to reach the top of the tank. So that's kind of the idea for this next aquascape. You know, how do you feel about using ornaments like this, these non-organic things in your aquascape? You know, is that something you've done in the past? Is that something that you've thought about? Let me know in the comments. So thanks for sticking around this long. I appreciate all your support, and stay tuned for the next one.